Hey, what's up guys? Will's Garage here. Today I'm going to be changing the spark plugs on my E92 M3, and this is going to be my first time doing this job on this car, and I've heard a lot of horror stories on how difficult it is to remove the single spark plug that's closest to the firewall on the passenger side. But let's see how difficult it really is. First, I'm going to remove the airbox by loosening a few torx screws in order to lift and remove the lid. You'll also need to loosen this hose clamp in order to remove the airbox lid. And this is a great opportunity for you to clean out the airbox of any leaves or any debris. On the right hand side of the air filter, there's a spring-loaded notch that holds the filter in. All you have to do is grab onto the filter, push it in, and pull it out. Now I'm going to remove the bottom portion of the air filter box by loosening these two 10mm bolts. Once you remove the bolts, the airbox can be lifted straight out. So now we have access to the spark plug area on the driver's side, and the spark plugs are covered by this black plastic piece that you can just pop off. There are two plastic hoses that are sort of in the way, so just make sure you don't damage them when you're trying to remove the plastic cover. As you can see here, the plastic covers are held in by two rubber grommets. Alright, so now we have clear access to the driver's side for spark plugs. You can start by removing the connector by pushing down on the pin and pulling it out. For this job I bought a special spark plug removal tool by Division M that just slides right on top of the coil to aid with pulling it out. This isn't necessary, you could probably use a screwdriver, but I decided to get one, and it made it real easy to pull out. To make the job easier, I picked up a special spark plug removal tool that has an extension on top of it, and it's attached together with a swivel. When reinserting the coil, make sure you reinsert it the exact same direction it was previously. Also, make sure that the coil is seated properly. You should hear an audible click. Remember to reattach the connector as well. All the spark plugs on the side are pretty easy to remove. The most difficult one on this side is, of course, the one closest to the firewall. There is a hose that's sort of in the way. As you can see here, it's held in by a plastic clip. You can pop the hose out to give it a little more wiggle room. It's possible to remove the spark plug without removing the cabin filter, and I did that by utilizing the tool with a Cat 5 cable wrapped around it to pull it out. And here's a view to show you how much room there is for inserting the spark plug tool. If you decide not to remove the cabin filter like I did, you're definitely going to need a U-joint adapter. Alright, let's move on to the passenger side now. So similar to the driver's side, the spark plugs are covered with a plastic cover, and in order to slide it out, you're going to have to loosen up the coolant expansion tank by loosening two 10mm bolts. By lifting the expansion tank up a little bit, you should be able to make enough room to slide the cover out. Here's a look at the four spark plugs on the passenger side, and as you can see here, we can already tell the one closest to the firewall is going to be a pain in the ass to get out. Here's a look at how much room you have when removing a spark plug that's second closest to the firewall. And now let's focus on the one closest to the firewall. So similar to what I did on the driver's side, I didn't have to remove the cabin filter. What I did was I utilized the tool along with wrapping a Cat5 cable around it and looped the Cat5 cable out towards the fender, which gave me enough room to pull it out. And it did take me about a couple minutes of really hard pulling, but it eventually did come out. Once you manage to pop the coil out, the next challenging part is to remove the coil from the engine. And that's because there's a couple hoses that are blocking the way. But in this shot here, I show you that it's possible to wiggle it out and spin it around to fit it through in between the two hoses. Got it out. Whew. Oh, and by the way, this is the set of extensions and spark plug socket that I used to remove the spark plug on the passenger side closest to the firewall. We've got the spark plug socket on a swivel. This is one tool and connected to a U-joint and a 6-inch extension and looks like an 8-inch extension. And these extensions are wobble joints. If you don't have wobble joints, it probably will still work, but having the wobble joint extensions really makes it a lot easier. Here's a shot of what the extension looks like when it's in the car and how much room you have to work with. Here's a look at the old spark plugs. The top ones are from the driver's side, the bottom ones are from the passenger side, compared to a new one. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the spark plug change. It really isn't that hard at all. The only challenging ones were the two that are closest to the firewall on each side, but I think it was a lot easier because I bought the tool. It is well worth it. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be posting more E92 M3 content, so stay tuned for that.